All right, hello grade 7. This is my first attempt at making a math lesson as a YouTube video. So it's the first time for all of us as we switch into this new mode of distance learning. You'll notice here on my screen that I've titled this lesson Chapter 10 Introduction. No, you do not need to write it down in your math notebooks because you can always go back and look at the video if you need to see how it's done again. You'll notice that I've skipped over Chapter 9. We'll probably come back to it later in the school year, but I thought Chapter 10 was a good way to start off our online learning. I made a little list there: fractions, integers, BEDMAS, and algebra. These are all the things that are going to be included in Chapter 10. So Chapter 10 is working with rational numbers and includes all the things we have learned so far this year. So you really need to make sure you know how to do the 4 things listed here in order to be successful in this chapter. So what I decided to do is start by reviewing fractions so that we can make sure that we're confident in how to learn online, but also that we're confident in our fraction skills. So I'm going to go through quickly adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing with fractions. I'm going to do one review example for each of you. You'll notice that it's a little bit more difficult for me to work neatly on an iPad and a stylus than it is on the whiteboard, so please forgive me that my handwriting is not as neat working on an iPad. Maybe I'll get better at it in the weeks to come. So first of all, when we're adding fractions, 4/3 plus 3 and 4 1/3 plus 3 5/6, whenever you add fractions, you need to make sure you have the same denominator, okay? Your denominator needs to be the same. So this one's pretty easy. I should be able to just look at it and go, how can I make thirds into 6? Well, I can simply go 1/3 is the same as 2/6. You can think about our line of how did I go from 3 to 6? I multiplied by 2. What you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. So now I have 4 and 2/6 plus 3 and 5/6. I can add my whole numbers first together. So I get 7. You could think 7 whole pizzas. And then I get 7 and 7/6. Now you should remember that 7/6 is an improper fraction because the top number is bigger than our bottom number. Our numerator is bigger than our denominator. So I can think to myself, 7/6 is really the same as 1 and 1/6. So I can add my whole number from over here to my mixed number over here, and I end up, as my final answer, I get 8 and 1/6. So the most important thing to remember when you are adding fractions is you must have the same denominator, okay? All right, let's move on to subtracting. All right, subtracting fractions, same rule applies as with adding fractions. You need to have the same denominator. So again, my first step is to think, how can I make sure these numbers have the same denominator? Well, I can easily make 1/4 into 2/8. Again, how did I go from 4 to 8? I multiplied by 2. What you do at the bottom, you must do to the top. Subtract 2 and 7/8. Now we know that 5 and 2/8 must be bigger than 2 and 7/8, but we run into a little bit of a tricky spot because I can't do 2/8 take away 7/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break apart my first mixed number here. So I'm going to break this down and I'm going to think to myself, 5 whole pizzas is really the same as 4 whole pizzas and 8/8 of a pizza, plus my little 2/8 that's over there, okay? So what I end up with really is 4 and 10/8 take away 2 and 7/8. It has not changed the amount that I'm working with here. What it allows me to do is to do 4 take away 2 is 2 whole pizzas. 10/8 take away 7 is 3/8 left. Okay, so main thing to remember for subtracting, same bottom number, but then also you need to be able to rename your whole numbers as mixed numbers with fractions in order to do the subtraction. All right, multiplying with fractions is a little bit different. You'll notice again, I've still included mixed numbers here just to make things a little bit more difficult, also so that you can review working with mixed numbers. What you need to remember whenever I'm working with a whole number, so in this case the number 12 is the same as 12 over 1. So I can write that as a fraction. Then I can take my mixed number and make it an improper fraction. I go 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1, and I get 21 over 4. Multiplying fractions is in some ways a little bit easier than adding and subtracting, because I just multiply the top and I multiply the bottom. Okay, 1 times 4 is 4. 12 times 21, again, don't be afraid always to go off to the side. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, add a 0, 1, 21. I'm running out of room on my page, but I get 252 fourths. Now you're not done yet because we want to be able to put it in simplest form. So I go ahead and do some division, just like in class, number on the top. Guess you're not there to fill it in for me, goes in the box. 4 goes into 25 6 times, 24, 1, bring it down 12. 4 goes into 12 3 times, get nothing there. So I get the whole number of 63. Okay, so multiplying fractions, it doesn't matter. Over here, it does not matter that my denominators are not the same. Okay, because I just multiply the top and I multiply the bottom. All right, last one, dividing fractions. Hopefully you remember that when we divide fractions, we actually multiply with the reciprocal. So the reciprocal has to do with that second number that we're working with. So when you're working with dividing fractions, you write out your first number first. That does not change. Then we change to multiplication. But once you change it to multiplication, you have to write down the reciprocal. Remember, the reciprocal is just the fancy way for saying flip the bottom and the top number. Okay, I'm not going to get into again why that works, but it does. Just make sure when you switch to multiplication that you have also switched to the reciprocal. Okay, another thing that we can do here is we can do some cross canceling. Okay, so what we can do is we can look across and we can go, how can I divide 8 and 2 to make them simpler? Well, I can divide 2 by 2 and I get 1. 8 can be divided by 2 and I would get 4. 9 and 3 can both be divided by 3. Cross it out, get 1. And then I cross it out and I get 3. So now I still multiply the bottom and the top and I get 4 times 1 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. 4/3, not done yet. I should be able to do in my head mentally that I have 1 whole and then 1 leftover third. Okay? All right. So in conclusion, these are just a couple housekeeping notes. You'll notice that in your package that was given to you on Wednesday, everyone got a new math notebook. I did not have time to photocopy our usual math sheets that we work on, so you're going to do your work in your math notebook. So again, you're not writing out a journal note every day. This is for you to do your actual lesson, which I will post on our assignments page. Make sure you write neatly. You need to have this notebook last you possibly the rest of the school year. Even if we come back to school, we'll keep using those notebooks. Make sure you complete the entire assignment that's posted on our Microsoft Teams. The next day, I will post the answer key so you can mark it and do corrections. Make good choices about your corrections. Again, if you're forgetting units, go ahead and fix those, but don't just fix questions that you know what you did wrong. Try to figure out the ones that are hard, okay? If you get stuck on one that's hard, ask me for help. Again, just like raising your hand in class or coming to my desk, you can chat with me on Microsoft Teams, you can call me on Microsoft Teams, you can video call me, then I can even show you a whiteboard and show you how to do it and walk you step by step through each question. You are responsible for your own learning. That means, especially now, because I'm not in the same classroom as you, I don't know if you get it. You know if you get it. So if you don't get it, you need to ask me about it. Remember, grade 7 math is building a foundation for grade 8 math, which builds a foundation for high school. So if you're having a hard time now, don't just ignore it. Ask for help so that I can help you to be successful in grade 7 math, which will set you up for success in grade 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 math. Okay? All right, so this is the end of my video. and you can expect a video from me almost every day. I'm sure I'll get better at it as we go.